Why atheism is stupid. Now, firstly, the very premise of atheism is illogical in the highest degree, based on the fact it stems from the lack of proof of a creator implies there's no creator. And this completely fails to take into account that the very fact we exist and the complexity in which we exist is in itself the evidence. So to a certain degree, it's not where is the evidence, everything is the evidence. An example being, you see a building, like a McDonald's in Camberwell, or some other rudimentary building, and you think to yourself, I don't know who built that building. This doesn't naturally lead to the conclusion that the building has no builder due to the fact of your inability to know who built it. Actually, that due to its complexity, it must have had a builder. If that's the case, the universe being infinitely more complex than a building must also have a creator. Even the idea of the Big Bang, I mean, the universe having a beginning, a relatively new idea for scientists who before that, were proponents of the infinite past theorem, as it were. So you got a situation where after getting over that big hurdle of thinking everything that is always was here, you've got a situation where there's a beginning. You've been created. It always seems to just turn into an emotional argument, a value judgment based debate where it's, do you like the idea there's a creator? Is it palatable? Does it tickle you? Does it make you feel warm and fuzzy inside? I mean, that's not important. I mean, it doesn't matter how much you like the idea. The question is it true? Now, how do you weigh that up? I mean, firstly, assuming that by the biggest, most massive, humongous, ridiculous, preposterous fluke, everything that is came into existence, is dumb. Just based on the fact that, you couldn't believe less than that, but swallow the idea that there's more. For example, you wouldn't believe me if I said that, the British Library is a result of an explosion at a printing factory, yet believe an explosion created every single thing that is and ever was, and that will continue to be. I mean, it doesn't make sense. At the same time, the whole idea of common descent, I mean, badly called evolution, but the idea of common descent, where we all used to come from an amoeba, some pond scum somewhere, evolved into all the life that exists today, based on the similarities between life forms, which is ridiculous. Just because I have a nose, you have a nose, doesn't mean we have the same mom and dad. I mean, it's a very just wishy-washy, guess-based, conjecture-based hypothesis. Then you go on to the law of probability, which is bloody stupid. On an infinite time stream, everything is possible. I mean, if I stamp my feet 3 times, at no point will my foot turn into a rabbit. I mean, it's not gonna happen. I mean, I can stamp my feet infinitely. It will never turn into a rabbit. I mean, my foot will still remain to be my foot. It might be damaged, a swollen foot, but it's still going to be a foot. It's not going to change into a combine harvester. I mean, you just don't get a situation like that happening. But what you get is people switch off their brains, man. No one's asking no damn questions. So everyone switched off their brain. They said, okay, our new pope is going to be this dude in the lab coat. And because I was in school and that guy's talking about covalent bonds and entropy and exothermic reactions, I'm just going to swallow every massive paracetamol the size of my head that he chucks my way. It don't make no kind of sense. So if you just slow down and you think to yourself, you look around, everything that's complicated had this design. Now if you come outside of me and you see a puddle of urine, I agree with you, there's no designer behind it. There's no one who sat down painstakingly planned the path the urine was going to flow down. But I mean, you come to me and you see an iPhone, like, I'm not going to accept from you that this is the result of just some random collaboration or mishmash of circumstance. It's bloody ridiculous. Now, to say that, one is preposterous and the other is reasonable or even intelligible as a concept, is to say that, something will kill you, but the same thing to a higher degree, maybe not. For example, if I jump from the 10th floor of a building, I'm sure to die. But if it's a 100th floor, then maybe I'll survive. I mean, it doesn't make sense. You have to have more of a linear way to weigh up, to weigh up truth or to weigh up facts or how you're going to at least interpret the evidence. I mean, at the moment now, we've got scientists who, one, have a scientific method based very strongly in conjecture, and in itself is unscientific. And from there, they can label every single thing pseudoscience or a fake science. that doesn't fit into their sort of worldview. I mean, you've got, on the one hand, they reject all supernatural explanations for every phenomenon, and on the other hand, create actual supernatural explanations. Supernatural being things that you cannot detect with any of your senses in the natural world. I mean, you've got a situation where, you know, we've got dark matter just to account for a phenomenon, but the reason being can't be detected by any instrument, you know, possessed by mankind. You've got dark energy, which is 70% of the universe apparently, according to NASA's website, but can't be detected by any instrument on Earth. I mean, what? I mean, you pick a camp. Like, if you say, you know, we are true scientists, we're not going to jump to conclusions. We are literally going to take the evidence, analyze it, and, you know, keep testing. And once we find something that we've tested 50,000 times and, you know, we're pretty positive, then we're going to say, make solid statements. But when you start talking retrospectively, this is not science, this is bloody guesswork. You start talking about 3.5 billion years ago, it could have been blah, blah, blah. This could have been is just conjecture. I mean, you have a supposition, which is just a hypothesis based on a limited amount of research, which is just a start point for further investigation. But your supposition has turned into something being stated as if it's a fact. Talking about, you know, you draw up a phylogenetic tree, and then your colleague over there, he's drawn up another tree saying, you know, donkeys actually didn't descend from this four-footed platypus, is actually descended from this, you know, like, you know, three-mouthed pterodactyl or something. I don't know. You just make up these wild stories, and each story seems wilder than the other. I mean, it wasn't too long ago where people were drawing pictures and saying, you know, we descended from monkeys. Then now we're saying, no, we share a common ancestor. Later, who knows? I mean, people are just finding like skulls in the Rift Valley and putting them in orders that they think is okay. I mean, this looks similar to this, so we just put it next to each other. They're not actually saying it descended from that. They don't know. They're not actually saying anything other than we have found loads of different skulls of different shapes across different periods of time. Okay, now one idea, as crazy as it sounds, is it's, you know, it's morphed. You know, we've never seen it, but it's just morphed. You know, I'm a fish. No, I'm not a fish. I'm a mammal. Things are just morphing. Or another explanation is there's just loads of different organisms. Some more similar to each other than others, and some more different to others than to others. I mean, that's an explanation. I mean, there's just loads of different animals. I mean, we find new species every day, and new species are getting extinct like every day. So I mean, it's a bit far-fetched, man, and it's true. I just don't have enough faith to be an atheist.